Hello guys, welcome back. So in this lecture, finally, let's finish Radix sort implementation. We are already ready with the helper functions, whichever is required for this lecture. So let's gather all these. So we need most digits, which is going to give us like the number which have the most digits and which is important, right? So the other one is digit count. We are going to pass a number just to see like how many digits that number have, and then get digit. Here we are going to pass the index, and then at that particular index in the number we are going to get that particular digit, right? So these three helper functions I hope you guys are already ready with. Okay, if not, then go check out the first recursion, or sorry, Radix sort video there in the description. I've already attached the Stack Overflow link from where you can get all these snippets along with this one, because I repeat, this is the code which I have picked from the Stack Overflow only. This is not which I wrote from scratch in front of you guys only. I found this from the Stack Overflow, right? So make sure you get it from the quick sorts like first video in the description. I think it's the first video or the second video. There's somewhere I have added this code's link in the description. Okay, so make sure you get it from there, and then let's start understanding it what is written here. Okay, so in Radix sorts, first we have to pass the array of numbers. Obviously we are going to pass array of numbers like this. Okay, so it will be something like this, or let's just copy this whole thing. Okay, and for timing I'm going to comment this thing out because I don't want it to execute it right away. Okay, and then see here, first we have to check how like which number have the most digits, because then only we are going to iterate through it, right? So how we used to work in Radix sort is, we find the first digit, and then we put like first digit, and then we put the buckets like numbers into the buckets, and then second, and then third, and then fourth. Whichever number have the large most digits, we are going to loop through the array only that particular time. Okay, so let's say if we have a number which have 5 digits, okay, and it is the largest number, then we are going to loop through the array only 5 times, because we are counting the digits. Okay, we are checking on each particular index of the number, and then we are picking those numbers into their respective buckets. We are storing them into the respective buckets, and then we arrange them back into the array. Okay, so these things I think I have already explained you in past few lectures. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to find like the number which have the most digits. So here we are passing the array of numbers, and then here we will get the number which have the most digits. So in our case this is going to be the number, it have 4 digits. So after getting the number which have the most digits, so here we are going to get 4, let's say, right? So we are going to loop through this whole array only 4 times. 4 times we are going to check each numbers, each character, each digit. We are going to put them back into the buckets, and then after putting everything into the buckets, we are going to store them back into a single array, right? This is what we used to do in Radix sort, right? So here we found the max digits, and then we are looping through the array. Okay, just forget about this code for a second. Okay, so far so good, right? We are finding a number, like we are passing the array of numbers, we have passed this array, and then we found a number which have the most digits. So this function, this thing will return 4. So 4 will get stored here, and then we are going to just loop 4 times in this array, right? Now what we have to do, we need some bucket, right, to store the numbers into their respective indexes, right? So for that, as you can see, we already have an easiest way possible to like create the buckets. So here what we have done is, like, not what we have done, what is written is, this guy whoever wrote this code, he have created an array with this array dot from. Okay, and then after creating an array, what he mentioned here, like on each index he want an empty array. Okay, so let me show you how it works. Okay, so let me quickly zoom it a little bit. Okay, so how it will be like, array dot from. Okay, or I think I have copied already, so why can't I just paste it? Okay, so he said we want an array of like 10 indexes. Okay, so if I call it like this, if I store it in some array, let ar equals to, okay, then if you console log ar, then as you can see, I am getting an array of 10 empty spaces, right? Because I haven't mentioned what I want in all those 10 indexes. That is why it is giving me empty, like undefined indexes, right? But if I pass this thing as well, okay, so let's use the same thing. So in the second parameter, let's say I want to pass, I'm passing a callback function, okay, like this. Let's say if I pass hi or just 1, I want 1 in every index, then let's see what happens. So ar, and as you can see, I'm getting 1 in every index. So whatever you pass will get filled in those particular indexes. We need the arrays, right? We need the buckets, because there we are going to store our numbers one by one, right? So for that, what we have to do, instead of passing 1, we have to pass empty array. Okay, that means on each index we are going to have empty arrays, that which will act as the buckets. So 0th index will have its bucket, first index will have its bucket, and so on, right? So now if I console log array, as you can see, on every index we have these buckets or empty arrays, we can say. So the number which is matching their particular index, we can push them into their respective indexes, right? Into their respective buckets, right? So this is how we used to create the buckets. This is the easiest way possible. Or if you have a better way, then obviously you can come up with that, and you can make sure like you comment your solution. You can write down your solution in the comment as well, so other fellow developers can also see that. Okay, because we all are learning here, right? So yeah, this is how we used to create the buckets. And now let's see the next step. What is the next step here? Now again we are writing a for loop. Okay, so this time we are going to loop through the numbers, right? So this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And why we are going to loop through the numbers? Because we have to check the numbers at their particular index. So let's say in the first iteration I want to check the numbers with the first index. So in the first index for this number we have 2. Here for in the first index for this number we have 3. Here the first index for this number we have 8. Same like 7, 1, and 4. So we are going to group them into their particular buckets, right? So this is what is done here. Okay, so k is going to be the index like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on, which is going to start from here, then here, here, then 3, then 4, and 4, right? So from right side to left side, this is going to start, right? You know already by now. Or let me show you, like, let me first show you how it works. Okay, so I'll just comment it again for a second, just to make everything crystal clear. Okay, so let's log k value. K. Okay, so now I think I have to console log this, right? So we got some couple of logs. As you can see, k value is 0, 1, 2, 3, because it was giving us 4, right? It was returning us 4. So we are going to iterate to the array 4 times. Okay, so that is what this thing is doing. 0, 1, 2, 3, because this number have just 4 digits and we are starting from 0. Okay, so that is why it will iterate only 4 times, right? And on every iteration we have the buckets. So let's see if it is available like this here or not. It's not available, that's totally fine. Okay, now if I loop through this array, again I am running a for loop. So here what we are doing, we are again looping through the numbers array, which is this numbers array. Okay, and then for each number on that particular index, let's say for 0, so for this number at position 0 we have 2. So this number we are going to put in bucket number 2. For this number at position 0 we have 3. Okay, you have to keep in mind we are counting from right to left. Okay, so it will, the order will be from right to left. Okay, so at position 0 we have 3. Okay, so this particular number is will go in the bucket number, what to say, 3, right? Now this number will go in bucket number 8, this one will go in bucket number 7, this in 1 and this one in 4. Okay, so that is what we are going to do here. So here at that particular index we are going to get that particular number, get digit, you know already by now. Here one by one we are going to pass these numbers, and then one by one we are going to pass these index. So let's say the k value is 0, that means 0th index. In get digit, if I pass this number and 0, okay, so it's something like 12 as the number, and then k equals to 0. So it is going to return me 2, right? Because 2 is at the position 0, and that is what this function will do, right? As you can see, it is going to give us the number which is at that particular like index, right? Where is it? Okay, so this way we are going to get the number at that particular index. This is what get digit does, right? And now since we have the digit here, what we will do, we will simply put that number, we will access bucket on that particular digit like this. Okay, so let's say we got a digit 3 for example. Okay, so here as you can see we have an array of sub arrays, right? So we will access the array at position 3. Okay, so array at position 3 we have an empty array, so we are going to put that particular number into the bucket number 3. Okay, and that is what is done here, right? So here now if you see, we are putting all the numbers with their respective index into their respective bucket. Okay, now after putting all the numbers into their respective buckets, what we have to do, we have to again merge them, like arrange them back into a single array, right? So that is what is done here inside this piece of code. So before that, let me show you what is the log we are going to get in the buckets. Okay, so I'm logging buckets. I know we are going to get bunch of logs, so don't mind for now. Okay, so here we have bunch of logs. Let's expand the first one. Okay, so first one, what it will do, it will simply access the numbers, or wait, let me just nums array, right? Before this, I'll console log nums as well. Nums, and then value of k as well. Okay, so k value, or just let's just copy this and paste it here, so it will be at least visible for us what's happening, right? So here what we're doing, we are going to get the array, we are going to get for which particular index we are accessing the number, and then what does that bucket look like, right? Now if I expand this, we have numbers. So we have an array 12 4 4 3 3 7 8 6 8 87 1 9. Fine, this time we are checking at position 0. So position 0 means the 0th index of the number. So here we will get 2 3 8 7 1 4, right? So this one will go in bucket number 2, this one will go in bucket number 3, this one will go in bucket number 8, and so on, right? So as you can see, 1 is in bucket number 1, this one is in bucket number 2 because the last number is 2, right? And same, this number in bucket number 3 because last number is 3. 94 is in bucket number 4 because last number is 4, and then 5 6 are empty because we don't have any number which have the last digit as 5. So same way we have 87 in bucket number 7 and 768 in bucket number 8, right? And now we are going to get, I think, the same result for all these. I think so. No, we are not going to get it. Okay, I think it's different only. Let's see. Yeah, it's different only. I think the implementation is already there. Yeah. Okay, so far so good, right? So what we are doing here, we are arranging the numbers into their respective buckets. Okay, and this time the k value is 1. Okay, so this time we are going to check the first digit. So here we have 1, so this number will go again in the first digit. We are not putting them back into the array yet, right? what we are doing, we are picking the number, we are picking the index, and based on that index we are putting all the numbers in their respective buckets, and this process we are repeating for every k value whichever we have here. Okay, so here we are checking first index. So here on the first index we have 1, and then so this one will go here in the 0th index because it doesn't have the second digit, right? So if you notice, so this one is just single digit, so all the numbers which don't have that much digits, all those numbers we are going to put them in the 0th bucket, right? We have already discussed it in the theory lecture of Radix sort, right? So I hope that's clear so far. Okay, so 12 is in bucket number 1 because the first number is 1. 4433, it is in bucket number 3 because second number is 3. 768 is in bucket number 6 because the second number is 6. 87 because the second number is 8. 94 because in 9 because the second number is 9. So now we will move on to the third number. So the third number we have here is 4, right? So this one will go in bucket number 4. This one, where do you think it will go? It just have 2 digits, right? And right now we are checking the third digit. So this number will go in bucket number 0, right? So as you can see, the numbers which have less than 3 digits are all in bucket number 0, right? So this one have more than 3 digits. So the third digit is 4. So that is why it is in bucket number 4. This one is in bucket number 7 because the third digit is 7, right? Same way, now we are checking the numbers which have 4 digits. So except this number, all the numbers are smaller than 4 digit numbers, right? So all the numbers will go in bucket number 0, and then this number will go in bucket number 4 because the fourth digit is 4, right? Now what we have to do, we know already by now like how we can put the numbers into their respective buckets, but after putting them into the respective buckets we have to again arrange them back into the array, right? Then only this sorting will work properly, right? So that is what is done here. So here if you see, we are using concatenation. So what concatenation basically does, so let me write an example here. So let's say we have an array. If you use concat, okay, and then you pass an array here, so what will happen? It will end up giving the result as an array. So here let's say we have 1 comma 2, and then here we have 3 comma 4. So it will end up giving us 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, not 54, 4. Okay, so it will end up giving us this particular number. But why we are using destructuring is the question here, right? So the answer is, if you see the buckets, this bucket is an array, right? This whole bucket is an array which contains 10 sub arrays, right? So if you directly concatenate this bucket into this one, so it will be something like subarray of 3, subarray of 4, okay, which is inside this parent array, and it will end up giving us subarray of 3 and subarray of 4. So it will end up giving us something like this, and this is not what we want, right? We want it to return the data like this, right? Like this, right? So that is why we are spreading this array, right? We are expanding this array. So what will happen? This array of subarray like this, it will get expanded, like all the individual elements of this array will get exposed. So instead of getting these subarrays into the parent array, wrapped in parent array, we will get the elements like this. And in concatenate, if we pass multiple subarrays, right? So if we pass multiple arrays, like more than one, all these will get concatenated. So let's say we have one array, and in concat we are passing 3 different arrays. Okay, so all these will get concatenate and it will end up giving us something like this. Okay, let me show you a practical example of it. Okay, in case if you are not familiar with this concatenate, but if you are learning data structures and algorithms, I believe you are already familiar with these things, right? You are already pretty much advanced in these things, right? In comparison to other normal non-data structure developers, right? So let's see. So here, as you can see, I'm passing 2 subarrays, right? 2 individual arrays. Okay, so it is giving me an array which contains 1, 2, 3, 4. But if I wrap these two elements into an array, okay, so it will end up giving me an array which contains 1, 2, 3 inside an array, 4 inside an array, right? So to get all the elements inside these arrays, we have to use spread operator, right? Then only the elements of this particular array will get exposed, right? And then only it will work the way this code is working, right? So now as you can see, again I started getting back 1 2 3 4. Okay, so that is what is basically written here. Okay, that is what is written, oh, not here, that is what is basically written here. Okay, and what we are doing, we are simply restoring the numbers. Okay, so after putting the numbers into their buckets, we are concatenating the buckets. Okay, and then we are storing them into the numbers array. So what will happen, again it will go here, it will loop through the array, this one it will loop through this for loop, it will arrange those numbers into the buckets. Again we are concatenating the array of numbers, we are restoring the array. Okay, so let's see how the final array looks like here. Merged array and then nums, let's pass nums here. Okay, now if I expand this, as you can see, nums in starting we are getting 12, 40, whatever this number is, we are checking the 0th index, then bucket looks like this, and after bucket we are merging the array, merged array, we are getting 1, 12, 4, 3, 3, 94, 87, 786. Okay, so as you can see, the order is a little bit changed now. Okay, one was at the last second position, right now one is at the first position. So it started sorting gradually, it started sorting slowly, right? Now in the second iteration I mean simply in this nested for loop. Okay, now in the second iteration, where is the second iteration, this one, right? So here we have the array 1, 12, 4, 4, 3 and so on. Right now we are checking at the index 1 of the numbers, so bucket will look like this. Okay, and after after storing the numbers into the buckets, we are going to merge it. So the array for this bucket is going to look like this: 1, 12 and then 443, 768, 87, 94, right? So we are merging all those buckets, basically these sub arrays, with the help of this piece of code, right? Okay, so now again the same thing here, now we have array a slightly changed, or I don't think this one is changed, 12, 443, 768. Okay, this one is also a little bit changed from in comparison to this one, right? Now again we are going to check the second index. For this particular array we have this array now, so bucket will look like this, and then we are going to merge them, and now our numbers look like 1, 12, 87, 94, 443. It is kind of sorted, it is almost sorted, right? So again we are going to see for the index number 3, bucket will look like this, and then yeah, the array will look like this, and then the final array will look like this, where we have all the elements sorted, right? So this is how the Radix sort works. Okay, so I know this was a long journey for the Radix sort, we have implemented so many helper functions, we have seen the theory, but it was important, because if I explain you all this in one go, you will simply go blank, what is going on, you will get no idea, right? Now at the end we are simply returning the numbers array, right? So yeah, let me just remove these things from here, or let me just comment these things out, because I don't want to confuse you guys with all these console logs, so you guys can simply focus on the actual logical part of this. Okay, so yeah, make sure to get your snippet, and if you are coding along, that's well and good. Okay, you can take your time, you can pause the video, you can write the code by yourself. If you write the code by yourself, you will get the idea completely, like how it is working. Even though if I have explained something, if you are not getting it, you can rewatch the video, or you can write it on your own, and you can add console logs to see how which step is working. Okay, So this way you will get a crystal clear idea how this Radix sort works, or anything works, right? This is the basic steps we used to follow to understand anything in terms of coding, right? So yeah, this is it about Radix sort. Like we have already implemented Radix sort now. In the next lecture, let's quickly talk about the time and space complexity of the Radix sort, and then let's jump into the data structures finally. Okay, so this is it for today. See you in the next one.